Hello, welcome back. Artist Cycling, I'm Greg. This is, of course, still the Tour de France film. It's interesting they have switched announcers, so I am watching Phil Leggett along with Megan Guardier. And Phil is where I learned the word penultimate, and that's what we're on today, the penultimate stage of the Tour de France film. Today is also the longest stage of the tour, which seems a little cruel after having gone up the Montmartre, the highest climb yet, I think, in the Tour de France film, certainly in this edition of the race. And it changed the yellow jersey. I think that is what, the fourth wearer of the jersey? It's funny, these commentators keep saying that, it was such a shock and nobody expected. I'm going, this was her race. This was her stage. That her being Kasia Niewiadoma. There we go. Sorry about the stumble there, Kasi. I 100% expected it. I don't know. When I built my fantasy team, I didn't put her on it. That was a mistake on my part. But so yeah, it was really quite an amazing stage. And so today, it's a little bit of a down stage. It's, like I say, the longest, but it's also relatively, and I do mean relatively, flat stage. 179, I think it is. Where are we? There we are. 172 kilometers, almost, just shy of. So it's not what I wanted to do. Let's see if I can save it. I can. So occasionally you will find that I start on pieces and go, whoops, that wasn't right. And even that one, nope, that wasn't right. And as you can see, there's no preliminary sketching going on here. I go straight in with the pen. Part of that is just that's the way I work. I'm not a super planner. I have to get over that when I'm doing theater design and stained glass and carpentry, but it's a general rule. I like to jump in and get to it. A skill set that has its advantages and its disadvantages. How about you all? You planners? Or a little bit of fly by the seat of your pants? Of course, my quote-unquote day job is restaurant work, particularly bartending, and you can plan a bit and prepare yourself, but you never really know what's going to happen. And to be honest, I kind of like it that way. Like I say, that plays to my strengths or my predilection for not planning. It's okay to not plan when you really can't anyway. So with this stage today, it's also going to be one of those stages where riders have time to chat and things just kind of roll along. There was some climbing early on, but things have kind of settled down now as we ride through the valley. Sorry, I heard the name of this valley, but it's popped right out of my head, the river we're riding along. And it's quite a large road right now, too. They're sort of on the main road, which of course also says they're getting down to the valley until, so your Saturday is spent kind of where you are. And hopefully you're thrilled to have the Tour de France Femme coming through anyway, so you're watching it regardless. So being stuck really doesn't matter. But yeah, it's one of those things where there's no other road out of here, guys. So I've done the Tutoral course, and the coverage likes to pop up, what we're looking at. And so this is the Area de Peloton. So front of the course, tête de la course, or front of the race. And this is the rear of the peloton. Interesting that they don't call it the rear of the race. So it could be Area de course, but when the Tour de France started, or Tour de France Femme, I should say, started, the Tour de France started in 1903. But when the Tour de France Femme started, this being the 5th year, now there were some, before it got called Tour de France Femme, it had a few incarnations, one of which was La Course, the race, which was raced on the Champs-Élysées. It was just on the Champs on the final day of the men's race, so before the men arrived. About the time they started their little processional meander towards Paris, the women were racing flat out on the Champs. Nice for the spectators who got there early to get their space along the side of the course, on the Champs-Élysées in particular. Now, of course, since the Paris Olympics, the race also takes in, the men's race takes in Montmartre, which has really changed the final day, although it did this year come down to a final sprint, and a rather exciting one at that, because it was Van der Poel and Tadej Pogačar desperately trying to hold off the peloton, which didn't happen. Well, that was the wild thing. So it did and it didn't. Tadej kind of saw the inevitable and sat up. And somehow Van der Poel found an extra gear, and right before they caught him, managed to ride away. And win the stage. I think he actually had a gap between him and the rest of the, all of the sprinters. It was exciting. Now, prints are available. There's 1 or 2 paintings still from the final stage of the men's race available at my website, gregleach.com. That'll be in the comments section, or details section, whatever it is. Description. There's the word I'm looking for. Of the video, so look for that. There are, most of those paintings of the final stage are also available as on-demand prints. And there's 1 or 2 of the, particularly of yesterday's stage for the women, that are available that way as well. Oops, missed a yellow. You got the, well, it's the most colorful kit in the men's Tour de France. This Lidl Trek kit. But in the women's race, it's, they're a lot more colorful. The racing is oftentimes a lot more exciting. The kits are definitely better. It's actually sitting here about to do the sky. It's been a little hard to tell what the sky is doing today. With the TV image, it seems very washed out and gray. Not like yesterday in the top of Mont Ventoux when it was like robin egg blue. It was stunning. So I think we will add just a little bit of gray to this. I don't think it's going to rain. That would certainly change the stage. But we're getting from the Provincial Alps. Lost my brush. Down through the Maritime, or Alps Maritimes, on our way towards the Côte d'Azur, where the final stage will be contested in the hills in the city of Nice. Should be very exciting. It's where year before last, the year of the Olympics, 2024, they finished the men's race in Nice as well. They actually finished with a time trial, which hasn't happened in a long time. So there was year before last, no promenade at all, because with the time trial, it wasn't like you were doing photo ops and all that. So that was a little odd. Made for a very different last stage. This year it got a little weird because of the fires that altered the finish. So they, in a sense, started the stage at the time, the regular place. And then they packed everybody in buses and drove them to the Champs-Élysées. A little weird. But, and it was even a little odder was they drove the same course that the riders would have ridden. So all of the fans who had been waiting got to see them. They didn't get to see the racers go by. Well, they did, but they didn't get to see them race by or even ride by. They got to see them, wave out the window of buses as they went by. Not quite the same thing, huh? And then they started on the Champs-Élysées. But the riders who I think enjoy the ceremony and the sponsors who want all those pictures, they kind of, even though it wasn't supposed to be a neutral start, the teams just made it one. The riders can't force the racers to race. And in fact, there have been protest go slows. It's kind of like, a union action. And well, there is, the UCI was originally a cyclist union. Well, irony now that they are sorry, I'm trying to find the right word. Kind of like the bosses, They are what is the word I want? They're the corporation and the So the union that's supposed to represent the cyclists kind of are the organization that tells the cyclists what they're going to do. Something's wrong there, huh? The union guy in me says, that ain't right. So they do have an organization now that advocates for rider safety. But I do remember previous tours when the Peloton, particularly in the days of the one I'm thinking of, Fabian Cancellara, who was sort of a patron of the patron. Think Godfather. He simply got on the front of the Peloton and told everybody to ride slow and made sure nobody disobeyed. So I'm drawing in on closing this up, finishing this up. So of course it's an ample, excellent opportunity to remind you all that, to subscribe. We've got one more Tour de France Femme stage left. So I will not be posting as frequently going forward. Certainly not every day like I have been. And got to remember that I have yet to post yesterday's video, stage 8. Excuse me, stage 7, the Queen stage, the one up Mont Ventoux, because we ended up having a power outage before I got to posting. So kind of put everything off schedule today. So another reason to subscribe, so you'll know when I actually post the stuff. But all of the work, as always, is for sale on my website. You can read about all the work at theartofcycling.blogspot.com. There you'll find links to my website, gregleach.com, where you can purchase any and all of the paintings. I think only 2 or 3 just made my first international sale. Very exciting. Of one of the paintings from yesterday's stage. So anyway, thank you all so much for watching. Of course, any subscription is truly appreciated, as is any comments. I've apologized. I haven't actually looked to see if I had new subscribers, but if I did, thank you all so much. And one more day, I'll be back again tomorrow.